About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.
Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name's Vicky and today I'm going to be doing another cook with me video. We already have a playlist of these. I will link them all in the description box. But basically every now and again I decide to recreate something that I've made and do a step-by-step cooking process and give you all the ingredients so that you can recreate it too if you want to. We've made our own doner kebabs loads of times. I've been doing it for quite a few years, and I have to say this time round was the most like a takeaway that I've ever had, if you know what I mean. It actually, like, sometimes they can look like they're from a takeaway but they don't actually taste like it. I think that is to do with the fact that I made my own garlic sauce, I made my own chili sauce, and we also, or Steve also, made our own flatbreads. So everything was made from scratch and it really did give it that kebab taste. And not to put people off, but even the next day the house actually smelt like you'd ordered a takeaway kebab. And not that that's what you want, it just made me realise how much like an actual takeaway this was. I'm going to take you through everything you're going to need and step-by-step instructions, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's take a look at the ingredients. First off, you're going to want 1 kilo of lamb mince. That's to serve 8 people, so obviously if there's only 4 of you, then use 500 grams. You can use a leaner meat if you want to, like a 5% fat beef, or you can use turkey mince or a mixture of like pork and beef. But I do find that the fat in the lamb really does help it taste like that authentic kebab. So if you can get away with using the lamb mince, then personally I would. So for the kebab seasoning, you're going to need some Italian seasoning. I'm using some smoked paprika. It's in an Italian seasoning bottle, but it is smoked paprika. You're going to want to use some onion powder, some black pepper. I've got some dried thyme and some garlic granules. And then you also need a little bit of flour to go in the seasoning. You also want your flour and your yogurt to make your flatbreads. You're also going to need some tomato puree, some lemon, some garlic, 2 small red onions, some lighter than light mayonnaise, some mint sauce, some hot chili powder. You're going to need a little bit of salt and some balsamic vinegar. I will put all the ingredients up on the screen as we go, and I'll also link them in the description box for you if anybody wants to follow this recipe. It does seem like a lot of ingredients, but half of it is for the sauce, some of it's for the flatbreads, and the rest is for the kebab, but trust me, it really will be worth doing. So we're going to start off by making our chili sauce. So I'm using my nutrition mixer smoothie maker to make the sauce, but you can also use a stick blender if that's what you've got. So I've started off with a whole tin of plum tomatoes, and to that I'm just going to add 2 small chopped red onions. You're going to want to crush in 2 cloves of garlic. Now I've used half a fresh green chilli, and I've also added a teaspoon of hot chili powder because we like ours really spicy. I've also added a tablespoon of tomato puree, a tablespoon of mint sauce, and around a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and then a good sprinkling of salt. And after that you're just going to mix it all together until it's smooth. And that's your chili sauce done, and I will leave all the ingredients down in the description box for anyone who wants them. Right, so now we're going to make our garlic sauce, and first of all you're going to need some plain yogurt, and I've used 150 ml. Next you're going to need to crush 3 cloves of garlic. You're going to need the juice of 1 whole lemon. I always use a slotted spoon and it catches any pips and saves them going in your sauce. Next you need to add a teaspoon of mint sauce and about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I've used the lighter than light variety, but you can just use normal full fat if you would rather. And then we're just going to mix it all up until it's smooth, and then that's your garlic sauce finished. So I've mixed all my ingredients together in a bowl. I will put them all up on the screen and you can just pause that and have a look, and I will also type them all in the description box. So I'm just going to put that straight in a bowl, and then I'm just going to add my lamb mince. I've also preheated my oven. I've preheated it to 180 degrees. So by the time I finish kneading this together, it should be up to temperature. And you want to do this for probably about 3 minutes because it will make the meat more tender, and also it will give it a smoother texture and make sure that all the ingredients are mixed right in. Right, so now our mixture is all kneaded together. What we're going to do is pop it in a loaf tin, but what I like to do is use one of these silicone flexible moulds and pop that inside, just because it's easier to turn out when it's cooled down. You can just pop it inside out and it doesn't stick inside the tin. But I use the tin because if you try and put it straight in here, these aren't sturdy enough and often it won't keep its shape. It will just end up like a big flat mess. So pop that inside there, and then you're going to put your meat in here. I'm just going to form it down into the tin. If you did want to do this in like a fat saving way, you can put it on a wire grill so that all the fat drains out of it, but the same principle applies. Obviously it's going to be a lot drier if you don't keep some of the fat inside, because sometimes I have made this leaner. I'll show you the pan I mean. Basically I just mean like one of these that I've just washed. You can lay it on there and obviously the fat will drip through, but it will make it drier. So what I'm going to do now, my oven is heated and it's at 180 degrees. I'm going to pop this in the centre and it's going to take about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to check it halfway and I will show you that. So that's been in for 40 minutes. We've still got another 40 minutes to go. But what I'm going to do now is flip it upside down so that it cooks evenly on both sides. So the idea is to stick a fork in each end and just turn it over. Then that's going to go back in the oven for another 40 minutes until it's completely cooked. Right, so here we are out of the oven. It's had 80 minutes and it's completely cooked. So what I'm going to do now, I've removed some of the fat that was collecting around it, and I'm going to leave it on this wire tray to cool. So I just get my 2 forks, and that way it will drip through. If there's any excess fat, it will now drip out and it will just rest, so that will make it a bit more tender. If you can leave this for a few hours, I would. It will be much easier to slice really, really thinly. So I'm going to let it cool completely, then I'll slice it, and then it's really easy to either heat back up for just 1 minute in the microwave, or you can slice it and pop it in some foil and then pop that in the oven for around 10 minutes just to warm it back through. But if you do leave it till it's completely cold, you will get really, really thin slices. So I'm going to let that sit now.
Right, so I'm now going to show you how to make the easiest flatbreads in the world to go over our kebab. And it's really easy. These are all the ingredients you need. So you need equal parts of natural yogurt and flour, so self-raising flour. So I'm using 300 grams of self-raising flour and 300 grams of natural yogurt, and then a pinch of salt and pepper for flavouring. And then you need to roll them out, and then you can either cook them as I'm going to do if you've got one on a grill, or you can use a frying pan. So I'm just going to show you how we make them. So first of all, I'm going to add a couple of pinches of salt to the flour and a couple of pinches of black pepper. So then you add your natural yogurt. And now comes the messy part. So mix it all in. Mix it in until it forms a dough. Once you've got your dough, then what I normally do is roll it out, and then you can divide it into however many flatbreads you want to make. There you go, so you divide it into 5 equal bits, and then tear it off, and roll. roll them into balls. Once you've got your 5 equal balls, or however many you're making them, a little bit of flour for light dusting, because then what you're going to do, you're going to roll them out into whatever shape you want. We're going to roll them out into a pita bread shape. So while you're rolling your flatbreads out, preheat your grill, or if you're using a pan, your pan, and then lightly spray it. We use a fry light oil, so I would lightly spray it with fry light oil just to prevent them sticking. So after about 2 to 3 minutes, flip the flatbread over, and as you can see, this side's nicely done. And if we just look underneath, you can see this side's also nicely done. So there's your flatbread.
Right, so here we are, all finished. I've sliced my meat really thinly, or as thinly as I can, and it's much easier to do once it's cool. So we've got our chilli sauce, we've got our lemon and garlic sauce. We're just going to have some lettuce, tomato and cucumber as a garnish. And then here's the flatbreads that Steve's made. I'm just going to construct it and then fold it over like a proper kebab. Right, so here we are, this is how we're serving them tonight. So I've got the lettuce underneath, some cucumber, some tomato, we've got our garlic sauce, our chilli sauce, and because they're flatbreads, I've just popped a massive oversized skewer through the top to hold it shut, and kebabs are always a knife and fork job anyway. And as I was saying, if you want to let your meat cool and slice it, then if you reheat it in the oven, just pop it in some foil, wet your fingers and literally just sprinkle some water over the top, wrap it in a foil parcel, and I would say 10 minutes on 180 will reheat it. If not, if you're going to put it in the microwave, put it in a sealed container with a lid, do the same with the water, literally just wet your fingers and drizzle it on the top, and I'd probably give it a minute, maybe a minute and a half in the microwave. It'll save it drying out and it will just heat it enough for you to serve. So there you go, and this meat also can go in the freezer, in a freezer bag or in a sealed container, and it will keep for quite a long time. When you defrost it, make sure you let it defrost thoroughly and then make sure it's piping hot all the way through before you serve it again, and it will be absolutely fine. So there we go, we are going to go and construct another 4 of these and eat them. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope some of you are going to go ahead and create it. I really think that it was definitely the most takeaway tasting kebab that we've ever made at home, if that makes sense. So if you do like these kind of videos, like I said at the beginning, there is a whole playlist of these linked down below. We also do food hauls, we do meals of the week, family vlogs, reviews. It's all kind of lifestyle here on this channel, so if you like that kind of thing, please go and hit subscribe. It does mean the world to us, and leave us a comment, let us know if you're going to make this, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also check us out on Instagram. That was a really long spiel. Check us out on Instagram, it's just the Foulger family, and I post quite a lot of pictures of the food we make and family things as well, and we will see you in our next video.
This is what we waited for.